Good afternoon. Thanks to Tennessee Firearms Association for putting up such a wall around this state and making sure the right things happen. John Harris and Archie, those guys, man, they're warriors. Big time. Well, I was thinking about what I should sing up here today, and I was driving up and thought maybe I'll sing a song about a great Tennessean that I would call him one of the most ultimate activists that ever lived. A guy named Andrew Jackson, who's from our great state here. And, this is a song I learned when I was about 5 years old, listening to my granddaddy playing Johnny Horton records. So see if you remember this one. In 1814, we took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down to mighty Mississippi. Took a little bacon and we took a little beans off the bloody British in the town of New Orleans. Fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. It wasn't as many as it was a while ago. Fire once more and they began a running down to Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Old Hickory said we could take them by surprise if we didn't find muskets till we looked them in the eye. They held our fire till we see their faces well. Opened up a squirrel gun, shot them all to hell. Fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. It wasn't as many as it was a while ago. Fire once more and they began a running down to Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Y'all help me. Yeah, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles, ran through the bushes where a rabbit wouldn't go. Ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch them down to Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. We fired our cannon till the barrel melted down, so we grabbed an alligator and fought another round. Filled his head with cannonballs, powdered his behind. When we touched a powder off, the gator lost his mind. Fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. It wasn't as many as it was a while ago. Fire once more and they began running down to Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Let me hear you now. They ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles, ran through the bushes where a rabbit wouldn't go. Ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch him down to Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. I said down to Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Thank y'all. Well, are you happy with what's going on in our country? Every week you get to the weekend, you kind of look back over the week and go, well, what happened this past week? And you just go, you can't even keep up with it anymore. That's how I feel. Nonsense on top of nonsense. Then you come down to your state level and you think you've got the ability to trust what people say and that they'll do what they say they're going to do, and then they don't. And then you get so disappointed because I thought you thought like we think, and I thought you cared about what we care about. And then you realize a lot of them don't. And I got to tell you, when we saw this red flag conversation starting up this past spring, I said, a red flag law in Tennessee, huh? Guess what other state has a red flag law? Illinois. How well has their red flag law worked to stop people from shooting each other? Not at all. Right. So, in my mind, we the people are the ultimate leverage on the situation. We're the ultimate leverage. The problem is, we the people, a lot of times are like herding wet cats. We're all running in different directions. But I will say that the more intense the pain level gets in our country, it seems like people get more and more focused. Pain is a great motivator. Unfortunately, it's taking pain in our country and in our state to motivate us, conservatives, to get our country asses up out of our chairs and do something about it finally. And so here we are. I think it's the biggest crowd that's ever been at this event. Thank you for coming to it. Politicians are supposed to be our voice when we can't be in the room ourselves. They're supposed to say what we would say, do what we would do. That's what they're supposed to do. Well, I can tell you on this red flag issue, ran into Jack Johnson in a parking lot a few months ago, and I asked him straight up, Jack, are you going to support the governor's red flag law? And Jack said, absolutely not. I said, any version of it? Nope. I said, so you won't support anything that infringes on the Second Amendment rights of Tennessee citizens? He said, absolutely, I will not. I said, all right, we'll be watching. And you know what? To his credit, he didn't budge. He didn't move. The Senate in Tennessee shut the thing down. It goes over to the House. Guys like Jody Barrett, who is here right now, a friend of mine, District 69. Jody stood strong on that. Thank you, Jody. You said the same thing. I'm not going to vote for that, and you didn't, so thank you. And the people of Tennessee shut this thing down. Jody, you tell me, but how many constituents were emailing you or calling you? It was like drinking from a fire hose, right? I mean, just constant. So this Red Flag Down initiative that we did with Tennessee Firearms Association, anybody that donated to that, thank you very much. It was all used for media, basically just to blow the horn and say, hey, do you know what's going on in your own state? Most people didn't know, and now they know, and now we shut it down. Can I get a hell yeah? Because we won on that deal in a big way. How many active duty military or veterans do we have in the house? Please raise your hand. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Green, I see you. Look at all those hands going up. We see you. We want to say thank you for your sacrifice and for your service to our country. Empire after empire throughout our nation's history have tried to take this country down. They've tried. They've come from both directions at the same time. And the only reason we still have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is because of men and women willing to fight and die if necessary to stand in the way of tyrannical forces that wanted to take our country down. They've never been able to do it, and they never will be able to do it as long as we have Americans like the ones that just raised their hands. So thank you for serving our country. I want to sing you a song. This is a song I wrote about my granddaddy, called him Papa Rich. I want you to think about in your house pictures that you've got hanging on your wall of your ancestors, your uncles, your granddaddies, grandmas, the ones that you walk past and you remember being around them, or maybe you never met them at all, but you've heard the stories. This song is about that guy in my life. I got to know him very well. Grew up in Glasgow, Kentucky, and you know how your granddaddy is. He'll tell you the same story 100 times in a row. You know, it's always like one of 2 or 3 stories he's going to tell you again and again. This was one of those stories. He'd light up a Marlboro Red and have his 9th or 10th cup of black coffee and say, sit down, I want to tell you a story. This was the story. Growing up in Glasgow, he said, I was 17 years old, and this train used to come through Glasgow a couple times a week, my whole life, and it was bringing farm implements and fertilizer and stuff that we needed for the town. But World War II broke out. Same train comes through Glasgow, except now it's loaded down with caskets. He said in those caskets were my cousins, my uncles, my neighbors, kids I worked in the tobacco fields with, people I knew. And he said I was so mad that I couldn't go fight because I was only 17. He said I lied about my age. I had my big sister act like she was my mother and signed me up for the Army when I was 17, told him I was 18. Well, he gets in there. Let me give you the dimensions of this guy. 5'2", 125 pounds. About right there. But he was absolutely vicious. He was one of those guys, if you said, hey, Bill, shoot that squirrel, his answer would be left eye or right eye. I mean, hillbilly, dead-eye sniper on a squirrel. They got him in the Army, realized he was vicious, he was ready to go, and he was small. So they put him into a special forces unit called the Tunnel Rats. And the Tunnel Rats' job in the Pacific was to go in the side of a cave and flush the Japanese out the other side of the cave. So throw a few grenades, hit it with a flamethrower, get your 45 out, start moving through the cave. By the time he got back from World War II, the guy had suffered 6 Purple Hearts. They just kept patching him up and sending him back in. He was hooked on morphine for 2 years when he got back home, weaned himself off of morphine, became a farmer, lived to be 80 years old. So one of my greatest regrets as a songwriter is that I should have written this song while he was alive. About a month after he died, I wrote this song. Dedicated to him, all of our active duty, all of our veterans in attendance, the boys and girls overseas in harm's way this very second, and the 13 that never came back from Afghanistan on this last run. They will never be forgotten. This goes out to all of them. This song is called The Man. Well, he was one of the millions who signed up to defend us long ago in 1941. And when they sucker punched us in Pearl Harbor, he fought under MacArthur 17 with an Army Thompson gun. Well, he stormed a lot of beaches, slept in jungles with the leeches. He saw things a young man should never see. And when they shot him in the shoulder, he got back up and he marched forward. Left a lot of brothers dead in Kwajalein. And if it wasn't for the good Lord and the man, there wouldn't be a breath of freedom in this land. When I see people on my TV taking shots at Uncle Sam, I hope they always remember why they can. Because we'd all be speaking German or living under the flag of Japan if it wasn't for the good Lord and the man. If it wasn't for the good Lord and the man. Can I get a hell yeah? I'm the grandson of a soldier, and I'd fight the whole world over if duty called and freedom's on the line. But thanks to the greatest generation and the ones still fighting for our nation, I've never had to kill for my way of life. And if it wasn't for the good Lord and the man, there wouldn't be a breath of freedom in this land. When I see people on my TV taking shots at Uncle Sam, I hope they always remember why they can. Because we'd all be speaking German or living under the flag of Japan if it wasn't for the good Lord and the man. If it wasn't for the good Lord and the man. As he was one of the millions who signed up to defend us long ago in 1941. And when they sucker punched us in Pearl Harbor, he fought under MacArthur 17 with an Army Thompson gun. God bless y'all. Thank you. How many people in this room in the past 3 or 4 years have found yourselves getting up out of your chair and making moves locally in your county, your zip code? Raise your hand if you've made a move. Yeah? Well, the rest of you should be raising your hands pretty soon. It doesn't matter what you do or what level, you got to get engaged. The reason we're getting our butts kicked right now is that the left, they're all engaged. They're all in the middle of it, and we're sitting back going, well, surely that can't last. Well, we were wrong. It does last, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And guess what? You know what the first thing they do when they run into real opposition, real resistance from real patriots? They turn around and run. They don't know what to do. Because when you look them dead in the eye and you say, hey, are you the one coming after my kid at school? Is that you? Police, get him out of here. Hey, turn the microphone off. No, hang on a minute. They've gone so far over the line now that they're not only in our town, they're in your backyard at your door with a crowbar, prying it open right now. They are coming inside the house. And if you're a grandparent, a mom, a dad, you see how they're targeting the kids now. See, I was asked in an interview, well, John, what made you finally get up and get loud about it? I said, man, you can call me every name in the book. You can come at me with everything you got. I can take it. But you start coming after kids and my kids, you got a real big problem on your hands. Another level of trouble. And I think the reason that they've got enough gumption and arrogance to come after our kids is because a lot of them don't even have kids. They don't like kids in the first place. They try to get rid of kids before they're even born. They don't have a touchstone to what it means to love your child. They don't know that what lengths we're willing to go to protect them. There are no lengths, by the way, that we will go. We'll go to all the way to the end. Give up our own life if we have to, gladly, on behalf of our kids. Would that be correct in this room in Tennessee? Do you feel the same way? Yeah. Well, guess what? They won't do that. They won't go that far with it. They will not. It is not down in their guts and their DNA to stand like that. But we will. And I will tell you this too. For the folks that did not raise their hand in this room, if the reason you haven't engaged yet is because you're concerned about somebody calling you a bad name or getting a bunch of hate come in your direction, let me explain something to you. In 2023 in America, if you're a real patriot and nobody is hating you, you are not saying it correctly. People's hatred for you should be the validation that you hit the target. You should throw a party when people hate you. If you go in the Bible, Jesus Christ himself said, rejoice when you are persecuted. Rejoice? That's a pretty big word. Not be happy or be glad. Rejoice, like throw a party. Yay, the enemy hates me. Perfect. Adopt that attitude, guys. Think about who founded our country. This last summer, I took my two boys, they're 11 and 13, and my wife. We went up north, and we came down through Massachusetts, went to Concord, Massachusetts, where the shot heard around the world happened. If you've never been there, go there. Stand in that field where the original patriots had to face down the redcoats. So here's what happened. Paul Revere, he gets word that the British are going to go to Concord, and the reason they were going to go to Concord is because all the farmers and local people were stockpiling ammunition and weapons. Oh, that sounds familiar. Because they had an invading force inside the country right there in Boston Bay. Oh, also sounds familiar. And so they found out about it and said, the redcoats are going to go to Concord. They're going to take all the ammo, take all the weapons. Paul Revere finds out about it. He tells two other guys, and 3 guys on horseback go riding 55 miles through the woods. It looks like Tennessee up there when you get out in the country in Massachusetts. It really did. Looked like Tennessee. They're running through the woods. The redcoats snag Paul Revere. They pull him off to the side. He didn't make it. The other 2 guys split left and right. They go riding through the woods and go around the redcoats, get up to Concord, tell them the British are coming. They start ringing church bells. The next town hears the church bell. They ring the church bell. The next town. Redcoats show up there at the North Bridge in Concord. 700 of them. There's about 120 of our guys standing there. 3 redcoats get knocked down. They get shot. And guess what 700 redcoats did in the face of about 120 farmers? They turned around and took off running as fast as they possibly could back for Boston. We got to get the hell out of here. They're shooting at us. You know why? You know why that's important? It's because the resolve of the redcoats was only, hey, we get paid to wear a red coat and do what we're told. And the resolve of the patriots was, we're fighting for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and it's liberty or death as far as we're concerned. That's what they were fighting for. Two completely different levels of intensity. So if you didn't raise your hand earlier when I said, have you made a move? Make a move, guys, whatever it is. Get up and make a move. If not now, then never. This is it. Stand up and do something about it. Supporting TFA is a good move, by the way, but do it in your own town. I'm going to play one last song. I'm going to introduce somebody that's, he's quite a fireworks show. Good friend of mine. Here's a song I did not write, but I wish I would have. I think this is the modern-day Star-Spangled Banner. And I've gotten to be good friends with this man over the years, and he said, anytime you want to sing it, feel free. Mr. Lee Greenwood, one of the greatest patriots that ever lived, in my opinion. Let's do it. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota, sing it, to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, let me hear you now, that I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Y'all sing it now. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know the man who died gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless America and the great state of Tennessee. Thank you, guys.